It's time to avoid a wire and trip switch. I actually remember rage quitting to this map the first time I was playing through it because it's a pretty severe difficulty spike and I quick saved into a corner. Naturally, it climaxes with an archvile thrown into the mix to try to attack you and also bring back the demons you already killed. The only issue I have with the map really is it can make you feel like a tuna fish in a can with how cramped these halls are, kinda adding to the difficulty. You get a rocket launcher and probably have a plasma rifle, so it's not like you can't blow everything away, but it can still make it more difficult to avoid everything. Overall, it's a map that's basically there to be tough. I wouldn't even say that it visually looks all that striking either, it literally looks like a sewer map. It's time to get on our knees and crawl space. This one's pretty decent. It's all about going into vents and sewage pipes, apparently cultivating in a spider mastermind that you kinda just telefrag. Other than introducing a pain elemental though, it doesn't do that much to enhance the gameplay state, though the paintings at the beginning were pretty amusing. It's very much a case where I applaud it for trying something different, but at the same time just isn't exciting enough on its own, even compared to what came before it. It's still not terrible, mind you. It's cool peeking into rooms before you're actually able to go inside of them, and it also has the mirror effect. Still, I think it could have done more with the concept. It feels like it's over too soon, even for the maps in this mod. It's time to descend into Roman hell in Gladiator. If you were expecting anything complex, the joke's on you, because it's pretty much just a Roman Colosseum with swarms of enemies. Seems the Kaiser demon and crowd don't take you winning too well, since they rush you if you manage to win your fights. Talk about a bunch of sore losers. This is also where you find the secret exit by taking a load off after the fighting's over. While it works as a slaughter map, it might be the most simplistic map so far. Prima Arena from Duke 3D had a similar arena vibe going, but it had a lot more to it. If you just want a slaughter map, it gets the job done and the arena looks nice, but I kinda wish there was more to do than a quick brawl and then straight to exit. It's time to avoid the projectile rush hour in hardcover. It sure is the slaughteriest slaughter map that ever did slaughter, and boy howdy is it a mighty big bloodbath. Now it has some cool design, I'll give it that. Good contrast of red fire and blood against dark, almost black metal. It really does feel like you're entering the lowest depths of hell. You even get a glimpse of the next map through a large window, so that's some pretty cool continuity like you see in several other maps. That's about it though for noteworthy things. The rest of it is just hordes of enemies of various types, revenants and mancubi giving way to hit scanners. It'll give you a good challenge getting through it and getting back to the exit. They can really shred into you, but as a map it's pretty average and doesn't even have secrets. It's time to punch some tonsils in the mouth of madness. I'm just gonna say it, this map is the living embodiment of all style and not really all that much substance. A really cool hellish theme with just mobs of enemies. The one upside is you don't really have to worry about saving your ammo since you lose everything anyway, so dump those hoarded cells and yes, talking to myself. The fake out with the elevator at the beginning breaking apart was pretty cool, I'll admit, and the idea of hopping into a demon mouth is pretty cool too. Sense of scale is massive too. Like I said, it's got style in and out and can be engaging if you don't rush for the exit. However, that means it isn't as good as many others. The nicest I'll say about it is it's a good flash in the pan, literally now that I think about it. It's time to pray for more megaspheres and black mass. Yep, shocker of the century, it turns out this map is another slaughter map, which I know is extremely surprising to anyone who's played Going Down. This one's content to go somewhat more for a drip feed style, enemies pouring in slowly but surely and climaxing with Spider and Saber Demon to pull a gotcha. Now to its credit, it's pretty dope visually, having things like a blood fountain, a confessional with secret and vulnerability, and altar with a key card. Not too much to say here, the drip feed means it's not too tough, but there's enough to keep you engaged and is at least creatively designed with a demon church. Only a shame there isn't more to it, but it's not like these floors are known for being the most expansive anyway, so I'll cut it a break. It's time to avoid the sweeping blood waves in Bridge of Blood. Yep, it's nearing the end of the map set, so of course it's going to go all out on the slaughter maps, in this case just crossing a bridge, getting a key and coming back. All the while, a spider mastermind, 2 cyber demons, and a whole crap ton of revenants, etc. get between you and that sweet lift. I'm surprised there weren't any archviles in this one. Guess they figured the masses of enemies were enough without having a fireboy to come in and start undoing your hard ripping and tearing work. Visually it looks pretty dope, it sure does look like you're going deep into the bowels of hell, alright. It's an alright map, it's got a big sense of scale and an even bigger horde of enemies, but what you see is pretty much what you get, and even killing demons can start to get stale. It's time to relish in the violence and roof rage. I'm going to call it going up to it, because it's basically going up as a slaughter map with a few rooftops to hop between for good measure. My strategy was basically run around and hope they all eliminate each other before I pick off any survivors, so mostly the cyber demon that was left behind. It is kind of funny how it recontextualizes things. He's free from all that, but he knows he has to go back because this goes deeper than he first thought. Not too much to say apart from that. It's pretty much the first level with a bit of extra rooftops and a whole lot of enemies to fight through. It's another secret map, so can't really judge it too harshly, but it'd be cool if there was a bit more to it. Maybe something involving the streets below or something like that. It's time to burn up the dead so they don't rise again in Necropolis. Seeing as the next map is the boss map, this is the last normal one, and yep, it's a slaughter map, 1,000 enemies in fact, not counting Archvile revives. So to the map's credit, it's got a lot of excitement, there are a few invulnerability spheres and a lot of energy cells for you to go ham on the hordes of enemies. The obvious downside is it's pretty much a slaughter map, but at least it has some slight complexity with side rooms and vats of lava. I'll give it credit for having a good fake out with the elevator switch disappearing and you having to go on a different lift. It's a thrill ride, just don't expect anything resembling all that much complexity outside of fights and infights galore. What you see is what you get. It's time to sleep separately and rest in pieces. It's a return to a multi-room map, which I can very much support, even if it's still a similar throwing waves at you slaughter map, because it's still going down turbo. It's actually fairly hard compared to the last two, since you can far more easily get snuck up on, and it's got some heavy hitters from Revenants to Archviles. The aesthetic is basically brown apart from the red torches, a single red wall of bloody bodies, and the elevator, so it comes across as pretty bland and Quake looking. It's going for a style over substance thing, which obviously you want substance, but style is pretty good too, you can have both. It's a tough map and a catacomb, it's something different instead of one big arena, so it's got that going for it if you expect the only color to be of the various demon bloods. It's time to cut through the living in Vivisection. These maps are getting more and more weird, with this one themed around experiments done on demons, hence the map's name. Even a lost soul being lobotomized that doesn't count as an enemy, but you can still kill it so you can make off with its soul or something. And of course you get the mandatory horde at the end, including a cyber demon and cramped spaces, which is always a lot of fun, don't you believe me? Now, to the map's actual credit, the aesthetic is on point. It comes across as a torture chamber, which is probably about as metal and thus doom as it gets. Only a shame the gameplay doesn't really hold up. It's tough, but Cyber Demon in a cramped space isn't what I'd call the good kind unless you like not being able to dodge. It's time in broken records. If you liked the map Blood and Rockets but wish it looked like a dusty library, then this map was clearly tailored to your specific needs. The map boils down to fight through monsters, grab key, fight through more monsters, then the exit, though it does have some good looking design. It does give you a decent taste of what you can expect for what's ahead, which will become slaughter maps, but just being a slaughter map isn't the most interesting. It's got a lot of pure meat to get through, but little else except maybe a bit of architectural design to serve as seasoning for it. It was no doubt engaging, even though you could potentially get to the exit while avoiding most of them, but I kinda want there to be a bit more than spamming demons. It's time to lose our minds and stare crazy! So the gimmick is, and I know this is going to be really wild, so coming closer, it's going upstairs and fighting a lot of demons along the way. Yeah, I know, the premise of this map is probably pretty predictable, but to its credit, the callbacks to previous maps is a nice touch. I'm a sucker for little details. It's pretty much a straight line apart from that, although enemies will pop in behind you to occasionally remind you to watch your back. It's a secret map, so I'm a little more forgiving. It's a silly gimmick, and you can definitely do a lot worse, even among the official secret maps. It's not going to wow you with how complex the gameplay is, but I actually thought the aesthetic and gimmick of going up through the previous floors is pretty amusing in this kind of WOD set. It's time to hide from danger and deep trouble. It's another big central arena fight, only now there's a lot more of the third axis involved because now it's more vertically inclined. Aesthetically, it's more sewer, but now opens into a vat of blood, so it has a bit more to its theme. Too bad it also feels overall more cramped than the map before it. At least you gain access to an elevator again, only a shame he can't take it all the way back up and be done with it, but I guess he wants to be thorough. Not much else to say about this really. It has height elevation, which is different, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the cramped spaces. At least it didn't stick a cyber demon on you, so that's a plus. Only revenants, an archvile, and tons of pinkies, hell knights, barons, cacodemons, you get the idea. It's time to stuff our bowels in Constipation Station. Well, on the plus side, you get almost all your weapons back, but you're going to need them because the enemies quickly ratchet up again, including multiple archviles. It continues the aesthetic of being inside a demon's innards, but also I guess the demon swallowed a tech base or something because that's blended in with it. To its credit, it's a room-to-room instead of just a massive arena, and it's got a good theme going on with that fusion. Main criticism from me is it can be a little cramped, especially when you're facing Revenants and Archviles and you want to be able to use some of your rockets. This map is overall a pretty good one to chew on, but it can leave you with some stomach pain at times. It's time to tangle like spies in secrets and lies. I could say it was the greatest or the absolute worst, but those would be lies, and I'm going to make it no secret how I feel about this map. If you like Indiana Jones, you might get a kick out of this because it's pretty much a temple of doom, going through underground marble and taking on a legion of enemies leading to a spider mastermind. And also 2 Archviles and a load of Hell Knights, Cacodemons, human enemies, you get the idea. The maps are firmly going for slaughter maps this stage. It's got tight design, but not so tight that it feels claustrophobic. You can still dodge projectiles, so it doesn't feel unfair. The map isn't going to wow you with how amazingly complex it is, but it's a pretty good line of fights and gets more dynamic at the end, so pretty good. It's time to end the physical matter in this area, Demolition. So the point of this map is it's basically a spider mastermind that's been absurdly buffed with things like Mancubus fireballs and also surrounded by enemies. I do like the idea of Doom Guy throwing up his arms and just demolishing the building, deeming it a lost cause because of all this hell going on. It's still a very shallow and pretty short map, but the multi-attack spider mastermind provides a very entertaining boss fight while it lasts. It's one of those things where it's more spectacle than being all that complex, which, come to think of it, describes a lot of going down. While it would be nice to have more to it, I get why it's the way it is, because it's going back to its roots with the outside entrance to the building, but now it's rubble. It's time for Jolts to enter Rebellion, 100 megahertz. This has got to be the most chaotic map yet, basically 100 Archviles along with invulnerability spheres and plasma ammo to defend yourself with. If you kill them quickly and bounced around those smirking green orbs, it's relatively easy, but you're definitely jumping around a lot from their attacks. This is after a quick scuffle in the beginning with a few Archviles. Definitely want to BFG them so you aren't overrun. There isn't too much to the map, but boy, it delivers in the pure mayhem category, and it's pretty fun trying to wipe them out before the power-ups run out. It's probably the most purely fun of the maps so far, and definitely one very unique one that'll have you feeling like a bouncy castle. It's time to get knee-deep in the dead and dead end. Credit where credit is due, this breaks the mold by actually being a pretty spacious area so you aren't cramped with rockets spammed out of you. Plot-wise, it's the last normal floor where his job is supposed to end here, but things go horribly wrong and he's separated from the elevator, forced to descend into the depths. I mostly ran around unveiling the enemies and then letting them fight each other while I just tried to avoid being hit, and fighting is great. It's a sewer map, so the aesthetic isn't exactly great. You might even say it's kinda crappy if you'll pardon the pun. Still, the gameplay is pretty good if short-lived. It's a horde that sets things up for the maps following it, and they're going to be the slaughter map kind. It's time to fall from paradise and forbidden fruit. This is another relatively breather map, not a wholesale slaughter map, but it does have some heavy hitters here and there, like a few Archviles and pain elementals and whatnot. The main gimmick of the map is you have to shoot all the fruit, something you can see on the auto map if you didn't catch on to it, which reveals the key and some enemies. It's not the biggest map, but it has a decent aesthetic with brown mud-looking sludge contrasted to green vines and a central tree with a bit of wooden tech base, but also hell background. I like it. It's a break from the slaughter maps, and for this far in, you should be able to handle it with ease. It's still not the most complex or engaging map ever, but I'd describe it as pretty pleasant where it keeps things from getting too repetitive. It's time to ascend to the stars and going up! Now the map is fairly basic mechanically, it's very much an introductory map and is the roof of the building you're going into. However, basic isn't bad, it has enough former humans with a great big flood after picking up the blue keycard that it can throw you for a loop if you aren't careful. Aesthetically, it's very much on point with neighboring city buildings and street lamps around the building with even a check-in station. It doesn't technically have any secrets either, although there's some green armor in a slightly out of the way area, so that's cool. Overall, it's not one of the more exciting starter maps out there, but it gets the job done and makes it pretty clear that this map set is going to come at you hard. It's time to avoid the front desk and bad reception. Let me boil this map down for you. It's basically dead simple on steroids as the ground floor of a tall building. It starts with Mancubi, opens up windows to reveal arachnotrons, then just dumps a crap ton of revenants, hell knights, and cacodemons on you. Then as the cherry on top, a spider mastermind appears. Guess all the spider children needed mama nearby somewhere. This is why I compared it to Dead Simple. It's that 7th map with triggers for killing Mancubi and arachnotrons, but this one adds a mob on you at the end. Not exactly the most complex type of map around, but it works as a ground floor to set you up for what's hiding in the building sub-levels, and is tough enough for enjoyment. It's time to feel dirty and buried alive. Now this is some good fragging food, a good going down turbo map. It plays sort of like a mix between a large arena map with a large ring around it, but with a few places of cover in the middle and edges, one that's great for hiding while the infight. The aesthetic is fairly good, with cave details and water and lava for breaking up the brown aesthetic that plagued the previous map like a quake plague. You have a whopping 3 cyber demons to deal with this time, but the map also handsomely compensates you by giving you the big mother-loving gun. It even has a boss UFO-looking lift for the exit, and the concept of blowing open a wall and having magma flowing in you have to avoid is more dynamic than Doom usually is. It's time to face some hawks and evil admin. This is where things get a bit more interesting, since you have to take a detour in a bathroom through a cool crawl space via a ladder to access the office. It also has an official secret as well as a fairly cool unofficial secret where you can use a photocopier to get some shotgun shells. Greater abundance of shotgunners as well as chain gunners, imps, pinkies, and a Hell Knight help to add to the difficulty. It even has a pretty cool mirror effect with a dummy sector, a bit like Duke 3D but without the mirrored sprites, which is still a pretty nifty effect. With a good aesthetic, tight map design, and escalation in difficulty, I'd say it overall is a fairly good map in its own right. It's time to repeat countdowns before the hunt begins and hide and seek. If the last map was dead simple, this is more or less Plutonia's Hunted, given it's a bit of a crate maze and covered in archviles. The aesthetic commits to the idea that the archviles were in those boxes and are breaking out. You even see fragments appear near an open box after hitting a switch. The exit even has some crates over it, forcing a detour through more foes to actually reach the elevator to move on to the next floor. If there was ever a map that does a lot with surprisingly little space, it's this one. It doesn't need a second spot to travel through. It's a map that lays it all out before you simply. It's a lightly horror-themed affair with archviles on the loose and you have to deal with them or get roasted alive. It's time to shoot through space in blood and rockets. Fitting that it's bringing hellish themes into it because this is where the rubber very much hits the road for difficulty. You get the rocket launcher, but you also get absolutely flooded with former humans, imps, cacodemons, and 2 revenants after you get the key as the homing missile cherry on top. That might not sound like much, but the sheer numbers can easily overwhelm you if you aren't on your A game, which gives it a lot of tension. Now, you can actually get the plasma rifle in a secret if you're good enough with your strafe run game, but you can't afford to get careless either way if you expect to get out. It may not have the most complex map design, but the excitement of the map more than makes up for it, and the wrecked room was pretty nice too. It's time to hit the gun and Indigestion. Probably one of the sillier premises. You apparently dropped your weapons on the way down, but at least the demon that took your phone was nice to throw your pistol down. You get a berserk pack and have to face mostly pinkies until you can get something stronger. Good thing this demon has a taste for rocket launchers and the rockets he uses. The main area has crusher ceilings you could use to make things a bit easier, but crushers don't discriminate, so they could just as easily snare you if you're not careful, and they're the slow kind. I'll give it credit, it's different and it has a unique aesthetic of looking like the inside of a demon's guts and other innards, so it distinguishes itself from the pack. If it was nothing but slaughter maps, it would get old pretty fast, so it's nice to see a deviation from the formula and be something more traditional. It's time to get a credits screen and game over. This map is a little silly. It very much comes across as a bonus map when the smoke is cleared to show you that this will never actually be over. Just when Doom Guy thought it was over and he can kick up his feet and relax, the icon of Sin's eyes pop up and monsters just start spawning in. You pretty much teleport around places in the map and then reach the lift, after which Doom Guy is going to visit his mom with a few guns. I don't even want to complain about this map just because of how silly it is, and it's pretty neat seeing a Doomified version of an apartment complex. If you see it as an actual map, it's a little short, but taken as a silly little extra map for the lore essentially, it's very serviceable and one of the more fun maps. It's time to hide from sanity and insanity. This map is very much deception. First the elevator's suddenly going hellish, and then you're in a long hallway of identical looking elevator-esque rooms. It climaxes though as it all opens up into one massive arena of blood, falls, and flesh, effectively becoming like both types of maps in this WAD, one after the other. It becomes a bit more typical from there as a big slaughter map, but that initial build-up is what really sets it apart. Some of the lift-looking rooms are still in the background though, and you can choose to brave some archviles to get at a BFG if you didn't get one already. I like it. It manages to be a blend of map types, and that initial hallway of elevators certainly lives up to the map's mindset of feeling like you're succumbing to madness. It's time to mix some dangerous liquids in Demonology. This map is refreshingly different in that it's sort of like the Divine Beast from Zelda Breath of the Wild and Doom Farm where you find 5 of something. Given how slaughter map they'd been getting, and this one has a hell of a lot of demons too, it's refreshing to have a map where you're exploring around with some lull periods between fights. It's themed after a manor of sorts with a chemical lab in one room with a canal of blood and an experimental chamber with a prison cell in another room. This interesting theme, along with the twists and turns, including one flood or archviles on a hex circle, give it a very different feel. It may not be the most grandiose of the maps, but it offers something different, and finding the secrets is pretty satisfying in itself. It's time to avoid agonizing circuits in Painframe. Like the previous map, this one stretches out the space with a secondary area, but this one basically throws you into a Tron-like area. It's nothing major, just a relatively small room where enemies are pouring in and you have to defend yourself until the way out with the red key is revealed. The main room has its own content, of course, with at least a good 3 waves of enemies between every step of the hacking process. I like it. It's got a theme that leans heavily into the whole sci-fi tech-based thing, and throwing in demons is sure to be one hell of a time if you'll pardon the pun. If you ever wanted a Doom map that's all about entering the Matrix or Tron or insert sci-fi virtual world fantasy here, then this will be right up your alley. I had a good time with it. It's time to feel hope for our future in Time Warp. As the name implies, you basically travel through time seemingly to a dystopian future, and you need to so you can access a key through the newly formed halls. It very much implies the demons have taken over in this timeline. Neighboring buildings are even ruined and on fire unless people of the future just like apocalyptic aesthetics. One really cool touch is that there's a lowering floor with green armor that you need to get halfway up for the corresponding one in the future timeline, and a couple are tied to secrets. It may be a relatively cramped space, but it does more with that cramped space to create something very unique. As a whole, I'd say the difficulty and uniqueness really carries it through. It takes Wormhole from TNT's premise and does it much better. It's time to clean up the pests in the basement in this overview. As a whole, I love the concept of the map of going from floor to floor, clearing out demons like you're some kind of pest exterminator. Going from basement floors to underground ruins and then into the depths of hell is also very fitting for a Doom mod. It's sort of like Doom 2 in tower form. I imagine coming up with new ways to make the concept fresh must have been tricky, like one floor going into the Matrix and another having you go through time. It devolves into slaughter maps near the end, but it mostly retains the very sharp map design, and not a single map feels like it was just hashed together with no thought. As a whole, I'd say it's a very fun map set for the comedic beats, and if you're someone who doesn't shy away from a pretty decent challenge.